Good day, ladies and gentlemen, once again. Here we are with another recording, and this recording is focusing on the topic of reconciling debtors control to the list of debtors. So, in other terms, we can call it debtors reconciliation, but not debtors reconciliation statement, but debtors reconciliation. Then now we have to go straight to the requirements to see what we are required to do. We are required to prepare the debtors control account and reconcile it to the balance with the list of debtors of Mpotapoteng Traders for the month that ends 30th of April 2024. Now, this is our requirement, as I have mentioned it before. Then now, if we are required to do a ledger account and a list of debtors, therefore now we need to prepare the debtors control ledger account where it decreases on the credit side and increases on the debit side, the basic accounting one. For every debit entry, there is a credit entry, or should be a credit entry. Then under debtors list or list of debtors, I am using the debit and the credit approach to make the correction. Obviously, this will start with the balance that we have. Together with the ledger account, we'll start with the balance, and the balance brought down of a debtor's ledger account is on the debit side. Now we come to our debtors reconciliation with the list of debtors balance of this company. We are provided with some information important to read, that the inexperienced bookkeeper of Mpotapoteng provided you with the following debtors control and additional information for April, and asked for your assistance in reconciling the debtors control ledger account to the list of debtors. So this is what we are required. The reason why there is a need for reconciliation is because this inexperienced bookkeeper made mistakes. And because you are our student, a student whom we have taught very well, who can apply concept that we taught in class with really with industry, with real field scenarios. Now you are assisting this inexperienced bookkeeper, and definitely this bookkeeper must be a graduate to the no-name university. So now you are assisting while you are still a student. Therefore, now that means the debtors control ledger account is likely to be incorrect with regards to the transactions that are already recorded. So that is the first thing you need to have a look at, to say the provided information, is it recorded correctly? If not, you first have to deal with the entries that are already recorded and record them on the right side, where there's a need to be a recording of these entries already recorded on the correct side, or from the incorrect side to the correct side. Now, debtors, we know that debtors is an asset, and assets increase on the debit side. Whenever we sell, they increase on the debit side. Whenever we receive a payment, or there is a refund, or else there is what we can call else there is allowance or a discount where the customer returns inventory, or there's a discount allowed. So now that will be affecting our debtors control on the credit side when a discount is given and when a return has been accepted. Then now we then have to analyze what we are provided. Then after, we take it further from there. On the debit side of the debtors control ledger account, we have on the 30th of the first month, 30th01, we have debtors control on the debit side, which is 12,830. And we can see take note that this is debtors control ledger account. For every debit entry, there should be a credit entry. But we see the entry on the debit side saying debtors control again. This is definitely not correct. Remember, this debtors control, to take note, it comes from the debtors journal. Under debtors journal is when we make credit sales. So that means the amount is on the correct side, because if it's from the debtors journal, that means we sold something on credit to a customer. But the description is not correct. Now let us check when we sell something on credit. What entries are affected? When we sell something on credit, we debit our debtors control. What do we credit? We credit sales and VAT output, or output VAT. So now that means the total of the amount of sales plus the amount of VAT output will be the contra entry for debtors control, the amount that will be on the debit side. So that means the description supposed to be sales plus VAT output and not debtors control as the contra entry for debtors control ledger account. So that is the first thing that we need to do. Remember, there's an expected opening balance in there. Let us skip, we'll deal with it. Sales plus VAT. And the amount of the sales plus VAT is fine. It's 12,830, 12,830. We can't question that one unless they will stipulate something otherwise. There is a mark for the correct description. I think for this one it's likely to be a half a mark. Then after we continue on that same note, analyzing each of the transactions already recorded in this ledger account. Please use the same principle when you do creditors reconciliation or creditors reconciliation. When you reconcile creditors control with the list of creditors. I did not emphasize the analysis of each transaction in the ledger account in the creditors control, one of the recordings that I've done. But the last one, I will emphasize it. Now, we are done with this one, done with this one. Then we analyze the second one. It says bank. And where is this bank coming from? Very important. This bank comes from the debtors column in the cash receipt journal. It comes from the debtors column in the cash receipt journal. For this one, I want to give you clarity. I'm looking for the correct question. I'm looking for the correct question that I will use for this. Looking for the correct question that I will use. The one that I recorded before is the one that I want to use. I think I had the question somewhere. Yes, this is where I am. Remember, they said that come from the cash receipt journal. Now I want us to see, when we say come from cash receipt journal under the debtors column, what does it mean? It means this is the amount we are referring to. Remember, why I'm bringing you to this column is because this amount is the amount that includes discount. This amount is the amount that includes discount. Let us go to another one where there was a discount so that we can get enough clarity. Here under transaction number 11, we can see that the amount of the bank was 28,000, but the amount under debtors control was 30,000. And in this case, we had a discount. There was a discount excluding VAT, and there was the VAT amount that was calculated from the discount. We can see that if we are taking the amount that is under the debtors control column of the cash receipt journal, it is the amount that includes discount. But if it was this amount, 28,000, from the bank account column of the cash receipt journal, that will mean that this amount does not include discount in the case where there is a discount. Now we can see that the debtors control amount includes discount, but the amount of bank does not include discount because we received 28,000 rands. But another 2,000 was a discount. But under debtors control, we record the full amount that include the discount amount. Now, why am I bringing this to your attention? Why am I bothering you with the previous recording, which I believe you also did watch it before this one? Is the fact that the bank from the cash receipt journal in the debtors control column, specifically in terms of the amount come from the debtors control column, meaning is that 30,000 that I just spoke about. So now that means the 19,350 includes discount. So that means discount is already included in here. And therefore now, again, the bank cannot be on the debit side of debtors control, because if this is from a cash receipt journal, it means we received money from a customer who paid us. So we received it. And if the customer paid us money and we received it, it's supposed to decrease the account of the customer on the credit side. So now that means this bank is recorded on the wrong side of the debtors control. When the customer pay us, we receive money, and we must decrease the account of the customer on the credit side. Therefore, now that means this is moving to this side. What will be the description? The description will be bank and discount. Remember, it will be bank and discount because the column of debtors control in the cash receipt journal is the amount that includes discount. So that means this discount of 350 is already included in here. We are supposed to just ignore this, don't take it into account, because we'll be starting from the opening from the balance. You'll see when I deal with the opening balance. So this amount of 350, we need to just ignore it because it is already included in the 19,350. So we are moving this to this side and we say bank and discount, and the amount is 19,350. And this one, remember, this one will come from the same cash receipt journal. What does this mean now that there's a cash receipt journal recorded on this side? Let me bring you back to the exercise that I am using to explain. That means now what they have done, they have recorded the amount of the discount, this one. They have recorded this amount on the credit side only. They did not record, they should have recorded 30,000 rands, which is bank and discount, the amount that already includes the discount, instead of recording the amount of the discount separately. So what they actually did, they recorded the entire 30,000 that include discount, and they recorded it on the debit side. Then after they recorded the 1,739 on the credit side. So that is a double dipping, recording the transaction twice. So I hope that you did watch this exercise that I'm making a reference into, so that you do not get confused. I did it is recording transaction in the subsidiary journal. That is the name of this exercise. So now that means we have received this. It should not even be there. Then now remember, we are doing corrections where in our ledger account. This side will have bank plus discount, 19,850, if I still remember well, 19,850. So the 350, Baba, you are already included in the 19,000. So we do nothing about you, we don't record you. Then we have a bank/refund. Bank/refund. Now the bank/refund, we are not doing anything with regards to the bank plus refund. It's already on the correct side, and it's a cash payment journal of 200 rand. The customer already paid us, and the customer returned the goods. In other words, we sold something to a customer. If I to just explain it well, we sold something to a customer. Then after selling something to a customer, The customer paid us maybe after a week or a month. Then now the customer was not satisfied, or later on maybe the product had a default. The product that have maybe a warranty of a year or 6 months. Then the customer returns the product. And when he returned the product, now we could not exchange and give the customer another product. But now we needed to do a refund to a customer and pay the customer. So now this one is correct on the debit side. In the creditors reconciliation, this will be on the credit side. So it's correct in here on the debit side. We do nothing about it. But when I say we do nothing, we just record it on the same side. Please don't forget that. We still have to record them. And we say refund an amount of 200 rands. Then we have debtors allowance. Debtors allowance. Remember, this is coming from the debtors allowance journal. Debtors allowance is when the customer returned something back to us and we refunded the we accepted the return. Then the customer returned, then we accepted the return. And if the customer returns and we accept the return, this is supposed to be on this side under debtors allowance and VAT. It's supposed to be on this side under debtors allowance plus VAT. This debtors allowance will include VAT. So this is an amount of 1,000 rand. That is under debtors allowance and VAT. So it's supposed to be on the credit side, not on the debit side. Then again, there will be mark for such transfer to the other side. So this one is sorted, this one is sorted. Then now we go to the credit side. On the credit side, we see balance, opening balance of debtors is on the debit side. So the description is correct, but the opening balance of 18,900 is supposed to be on this side, 18,900. So now we are correcting also the fact that the balance is on the wrong side. And you are grabbing the marks. Remember, this is debtors control as an asset. The opening balance will always be on the debit side. It's a balance brought down. Balance brought down of an asset is on the debit side. There we have a balance carried down there with the question mark. We have a carried down and the brought down on the same side. That was a mistake. So now that is the correction we have made. Remember, this one, we are discarding this one out because it is already included in the amount of 19,350, which is bank and discount. So now we have dealt with the existing ledger account in terms of recording on the right side. This bookkeeper was really inexperienced and needed one of our students who masters their accounting one, debtors reconciliation. Now we have additional information that is provided to us where we need to deal with it separately. The balances or the balance as per debtors list at the end of the month is 10,870. So now we just write the debtors list balance on the credit side, not the credit side, on the debit side, 10,870. The opening balance of an asset is on the debit side. Not sometimes, but always. If it's an asset, their balance, opening balance is on the debit side. Now, let me then analyze the transaction slowly but surely. Only a transaction, then after we are done. It says, the number 2, a debtor pusher who owed 160 must be written off as irrecoverable. Now, this person is a bad debt, meaning is declared insolvent by the court of debtors, and his account must be declared as must be written off as irrecoverable. Remember, this person was recorded on this side as a debtor. Maybe was sitting there on that opening balance. But now when we write it off, then it must be cancelled on the credit side of this ledger account. So now we have to say on the ledger account, we have the 160. The description will be journal credit. It will be journal credit. Then our general credits come from the general journal. That will be your general journal. How much? 160 rands. Remember, we'll debit, in this case, credit loss. Then we credit our debtors control. But we use the description of general credit coming from the general journal. So we have done this. Then we need to say now, these are the list of the account of debtors, meaning the account of pusher who no longer is able to pay us must be decreased by 160 on the credit side. Remember, currently this account has balance on the debit side as 160. So now we are writing off this account, cancelling it on the credit side because he is declared insolvent. Therefore, now his account will be written off as a credit loss. That will be a credit. So now we are reducing his account because he will not be willing to pay us anymore. We hope that he will recover his account later on. Then now we go to number 3. Number 3 says the debtors allowance journal was undercasted. Remember, this is the debtors allowance journal. When we're referring to the debtors allowance journal, we are referring to the debtors allowance journal, which is the total that come from the debtors allowance journal. They say the debtors allowance journal was undercasted by 200, not the list of a debtor. So now it's the journal. Then because it's a journal, then will affect our debtors control, not the list of debtors. So now if a debtors allowance journal was undercasted, that means now how are we going to record that? Debtors allowance journal is where the customer has returned the product to us. So now they say our returns were underestimated, meaning our credit side where we reduce our debtors was underestimated. So the 200 is therefore recorded on the credit side. What will be our description? It is debtors and allowances. We already have debtors and allowances, so we can just record it in the same line under debtors and allowances. That will give us a total of 1,200 rand. This is debtors and allowances. And then we have recorded that. Remember, the debtors and allowances, they also include VAT. Hence, I also said plus VAT. Debtors allowance plus VAT. So we include it in there. You still get your tick in there. Don't worry. You'll still be sorted even if it's inside there. Then we come to the next one. Remember, I said the list of debtors is not affected because there was no specific data that was recorded undercasted, but only the total or the debtors allowance as a journal. Number 4, an invoice. If it's an invoice, brethren, you know that we have sold. If it's an invoice, we have sold. And we have sold on credit. Hence, we deal with debtors control. An invoice of 900 was correctly recorded in the journal, which is our debtors journal, but posted as 90 rand in the account of the customer Ditaba. Now let us calculate how much is incorrect Ditaba. Minus 90 rand, we realize that 810 rand is the one that must be increasing the account of Ditaba. We said Ditaba owes us 90 rand, yet Ditaba owes us the entire 900. It's supposed to be 900, but we increase his account by 90 rand. Therefore, now we need to increase the account of Ditaba by 810 rand. How to increase the account of a specific customer? We go to the list of debtors, then we write Ditaba, and we increase the account of Ditaba on the debit side because his account was recorded very less than it was supposed to be. 90 rand only was recorded on the debit side, yet this was supposed to be an amount of 900 rands, increasing the account of this customer on the debit side. Remember, debtors are assets, and assets increase on the debit side. Then now we are done with number 2. Remember, in the journal, it was sorted. In the journal, it was sorted. I might need to just remind you once again, when I say in the journal, it was sorted, I'm not looking for this one. When you say in the journal, it was sorted, remember this is debtors journal. This is debtors journal. So now, if in the journal it was correct, meaning this was correct, the total year of these two was correct. So we recorded correct in here. When we do the debtors control ledger account, debtors control, remember we record from this total. So the total which is fine in the journal, this is debtors journal, they said in the journal it was correct. So in the journal is correct, and we took the total that is correct in the journal and we recorded it to the debit side of debtors control. So debtors control is sorted. But when we were recording individual debtors now, when we did individual debtors, which is Ditaba now, we're dealing with Ditaba's account in the list of debtors, in the account of Ditaba. Let me just specify. When we did the account of Ditaba, we said on the debit side, we recorded 90 Rand to Ditaba instead of the correct amount. So that is why now we go to the list of debtors. Ditaba is a debtor, is one of the debtors we have. So hence now on the debit side, we need to say 810 Rand. So that how much Ditaba owes us is 900 on the debit side. So this is what we mean when we say now it was fine in the journal, but not in the account of the customer, which in this case Ditaba. So we deal specifically only with Ditaba, who has a problem in terms of recording in our books. Now, number 5. Let's say a debtor paid his account of how much? 500 rands. And he received a settlement discount. Let me just confirm that Ditaba is sorted there. Just verify. We dealt with Ditaba very well. Then now we come to the account or the transaction number 5 that says, let's say a debtor paid his debt of 500 Rand. Remember, when this person pays 500 Rand, their account supposed to decrease on the credit side, and the debtors control ledger account supposed to decrease on the credit side. And his account is how much? Is 500 Rand. But he received a settlement discount of 50 Rand. So now, remember this money we received. It says this transaction was not recorded in the books. In the books of the business. When we say the books of the business, we are referring to our subsidiary journals. When we say it was not recorded in the books of the business, remember this is money we have received. That means it was not recorded where in the cash receipt journal. This journal is our books. So now nothing was recorded in the cash receipt journal. And remember, this customer received a discount. Therefore now that means it will be under bank and discount. Bank and discount. And we need to record the amount that is under debtors control, which is the entire 500 under bank and discount, because the 500 include the discount and include the VAT amount that was calculated from that discount amount, which we said times by 15 over 115. If you still remember, it was a lovely recording of 1 hour 32 minutes. Now we now know that we are recording the 500 rands on the credit side of the debtors control. Then after we record that also on the credit side of the list of debtors, because it was not recorded. Yet is cash that we have received. Now let us start. Do we have bank and discount? Yes, we already have the bank and discount, and that also includes VAT. So now we just need to say we already have bank and discount where we have received money from a customer. Remember, bank and discount is when we receive money from a customer. Then where there is also a discount, we include it in the bank and discount. So now we are sorted with that. We are sitting with a total of 19,850, 19,850 plus 500. It will be, or 19,850. Let me check, 19,350. I wonder why I ended up with 19,850 on my side. I hope you have identified this one. I had my 19,850, yet we were dealing with 19,350 on that one. So now after the 500, we know that it will be 19,850. So we have 19,850, but we are making a correction in here because the correct amount is 19,350 rands. So we have recorded the 19,350. Apologies for that correction in there. Then now we continue, but it does not disrupt much in our understanding. The concept remains the same, it's just a matter of an amount. Now, but in my case, I can reconcile it during my recording without having to consult our students who are very brilliant. Now we therefore now we have recorded this in the debtors journal, in the debtors control, which would have came from debtors journal. Then now we need to record under the specific account of the customer, and this customer's name is Lesedi. Now we are to record Lesedi and say Lesedi. We need to record the amount that you have paid, and because you paid us the entire 500 rand, remember this 500 rand is the one that come from the debtors control column in the cash receipt journal, which is the amount that include discount and amount that include the VAT that is on a discount, but you can just say bank end discount. So now because Lesedi paid us, we expect that the account of Lesedi must decrease on the credit side because debtors decrease on the credit side when they pay us. And they paid us, and they specifically specify that we have received, who paid us this amount of money, but we gave a settlement discount. So now we come and we record number 6. Number 6, now another lovely one, says a credit note. Remember, if it's a credit note, I emphasize that when we did creditors reconciliation, when it's a credit note with the amount of 150, we know that this is a return. And which side do return go? They go on the credit side of debtors control account, and they go on the credit side of the list of debtors, if they're supposed to affect both of them. It says a credit note with an amount of 150 was recorded as an invoice. Now remember, when we have an invoice means credit sales in this case. When we record something as an invoice, it means it's recorded on the debit side, meaning our debit side increased, because when we recognize it as an invoice, that means we recognize it as a sale, and sales that are done on credit, they increase debtors. So that means we have increased our debtors on the debit side. Now let us check who recorded this correctly or incorrectly while we busy with the analysis. The amount is supposed to be 150, and it was recorded as an invoice in the debtors ledger, which is of Sentatla. The journal was not affected. So now under the debtors allowance journal, everything was sorted. Under the debtors allowance journal, everything was sorted. Hence they say the journal was not affected. Or in other terms, if we're to put it in other terms, you can say the debtors journal was recorded correctly, but only incorrect in the account of the ledger of the customer called Senatla. So now our debtors control is not affected because the journal was sorted, but that specific account of the customer, therefore now that will indicate that this will affect our list of debtors. Now, let us first understand what happened here. But we know that we are dealing with the customer's name, Senatla. Let us just record your Senatla here with your detail. This was supposed to be a transaction where is a return. Remember, I said to you an invoice or a credit note is a return. Now, if it's a return, which side was it supposed to be recorded? It was supposed, let me just write there with a different pen. It was supposed it's a return. Remember, return, they decrease customers. It was supposed to be on this side. So they supposed to have said 150 this side because the customer returned and we accepted the return and we issue the document called credit note. So now in this case, we're supposed to have recorded on the credit side. But what did we actually do? We recorded it on the debit side. We recorded it on the debit side. This is the red one. Bear with my red color. If it's not purely red. This is the red, what we have done. So we recorded on the debit side instead of the credit side. So let me erase that credit side. So we recorded on the debit side as if it's a sale, instead of recording it on the credit side because it is a return. So now when we record it on the credit side, in the correct side now, when we record on the credit side, that means debit, remember debit is a plus, credit is a minus in terms of this asset. So now in this case, that means we are left with 0. Therefore now we have recorded the correct amount on the correct side, but it cancelled by the one that was already done on the debit side. That means we need to record another 150 on the credit side so that we can decrease the credit side or decrease our debtors on the credit side by 150. So now remember, we are not recording the 150. It was already recorded. What we need to record is 250 is 150 rand times 2 on the credit side. And I prefer the approach of just recording one amount and say 300. But you can also do the same and say 150 and another 150. But that one is a very long way. Our students who can assist a bookkeeper who is inexperienced will not take that long way. They just 1, 2, 1, 2, they are done using shortcut. Now we have recorded the amount of 300 that went to the credit side of the account of this customer. Then now we continue on that same note. Remember, they said the journal was not affected, meaning the journal, everything was recorded correctly in the journal. Therefore, the debtors control account is not affected because in the debtors control account, we record from the journal. So now we have our number 7. Number 7, we are reading under number 7. Number 7 says a payment of 250. Remember, we are a company that sells on credit to our customers. So when they say a payment or a payment, I'm not sure if that is correct grammar. A payment of 260 received. So we received money from who? From Lerato. Thank you, Lerato, for paying your account. And Lerato is a debtor, meaning a person whom we previously sold something on credit to them. Was recorded in the account of Lorato, a debtor. Now, this is the issue of the close names of customers. The money is received from who? From Lerato, but is recorded from the account of Lorato, and both of them are our debtors. So in other words, we need to remove it from the account of Lorato and we record it in the account of Lerato. And this is only the specific customers' accounts. The debtors control is all sorted there. They could have also said that our journals were recorded correctly, but we are dealing with the specific customers whom in their accounts mistakes or a mistake was done. Now let us take it to that level. Then we record. Now we say when we receive money from a customer, which side do we record in it? We record obviously on the credit side. So now in other words, they recorded this on the credit side of the account of just verify the Lerato and Lorato. They recorded on the credit side of the account of Lorato, assuming that Lorato paid. So now we are removing it from the credit side, we are recording it to the debit side. In other words, we are cancelling what was done on the credit side of the account of the wrong customer, who is Lorato. Now let me just do a short analysis for this one. I think it might be important instead of talking, but bring a picture. Here we have Lorato. Lorato is a wrong customer, is the wrong customer. We were not supposed to record in this account, but we recorded by error. And because we thought that Lorato was paying us, so payments by customers are recorded on this side. So it have said the bank plus discount, 260 on the credit side. So we need to remove this in the account of Lorato. So for us to cancel it in the account of Lorato, we must record it on the debit side of the account of Lorato. And the entry is still bank plus discount. Clear on that? But I'm saying bank and discount in the context of the ledger account. When I do in the list of debtors, I'll just be writing the name of the customer. The other details are for the purpose of the ledger account. So you don't use the bank and discount because we need to know whose account are we referring to in the list of debtors. So in other words, this is what we are recording. This is what was done. This is what was done. But we are cancelling this because it's not supposed to be in this account. Now debit minus debit, it will end up 0. That means we have cancelled the 260 in the account of Lorato. Now let us go to Lorato and say Lorato, let us mark Lorato with the red one because it's a red flag that Lorato is said to have received a payment. Lorato, Lorato, we are removing you on the debit side, 260. Remember, this is what we are recording. We are recording the 260 on the debit side, cancelling what was done on the credit side by error. This was done by error. So we are cancelling it on the debit side. There is 0 in this account. Then now we are recording it the correct way. It was supposed to be recorded to Lerato. Oh, Lerato, sorry. Lerato, you are the one that's supposed to receive or to be recognized the 260. We receive payment from you, therefore your account is supposed to decrease on the credit side. Whenever a customer pays their account must decrease on the credit side. Now that was number 7. Then now we are approaching number 8. Number 8 says the account of Pusho has to be charged with interest. Whenever there's interest, there's another one that I recorded on the creditors reconciliation. Under creditors reconciliation, I initially made an error on this 50 rand, which was interest. I did not record it on the ledger account, but I corrected it later on. If you'll go through that one, after this one, you'll get to see the error that I've made, but I corrected later on because at least I'm teaching students who can identify an error and correct it before they leave the exam if they made a mistake, so that 90% is guaranteed, 90% plus. So now interest will affect our debtors control and also affect our list of debtors. They did not say anything about the journal. Obviously, this would not have perhaps surfaced on the journal. So now we need to record this interest under the list of Pusho Now we're saying, Pusho, we are billing you 50 Rand of interest. Your account will increase because they are saying you have not paid us, we are charging interest. Always when people are selling on credit, there will always going to be interest on the account if you still have a balance in there, either at the end of every month. So now 50 Rand is in there. Then we must also record this 50 Rand under our debtors control. Under our debtors control, it will be on the debit side of this account. And this is going to be called journal credit. It will be called journal credit or journal credits. Journal credits. That will be the 50 Rand. Now we need to look if is there any other amount that we perhaps have left on the debit side. We have 200 Rand, that one is sorted, 50 Rand, credit side, 1.2, 19,850 and 160. There was no other one that was not recorded. We recorded all of them. Remember, I said this one is out of the equation. This one we recorded, 1,000 was transferred to the other side. So that means with this number 8 being done, then we can see if really our students, they are better than inexperienced bookkeepers from this no-name university. If they can balance everything, reconcile well. 18,900, we have just maximize. We have 18,900 plus 12,830 plus 200 rands plus 50 rand. This is the test if really our students they can outperform this inexperienced bookkeeper. We have 31,980. Then we deduct our credit side. Minus 19,850 minus 1,200 minus 160 rands. This gives us a total of 10,770. This will be called balance carry down, and I know you know that balance carry down, and this balance will be brought down 10,770. This is our balance that is brought down beginning of the year. Now we can see that balance brought down supposed to be on the debit side, not on the credit side for an asset. Balance brought down of an asset is on the debit side, not on the credit side. So we have corrected that. Then after we show them that at the end of the year, we record the balance brought down on the correct side. That is evidence enough that our students are way better than these inexperienced bookkeepers from no-name universities. Then we do our list of debtors. We calculate the total of the bigger side. Line is going to be the debit side, so we don't have to be wasting our time. We just calculate the total of the debit side. 10,870 plus 810 Rand plus 260 plus 50 Rand. This gives us 11,990. 11,990 Rand. We have 11,000 the bigger side, 990 Rand. We write the total of the bigger side, both sides. Similarly as we did with the total of the debit side, we transferred in the other side. So that is the basics of balancing a ledger account. Those are the basics of balancing a ledger account. Then we minus the smaller side, and the smaller side is the credit side. Then you say minus 260, minus 300 rands, minus 500 rands, minus 160 rands. We are left with 10,770. We are left with 10,770. There is 10,770. Therefore, now we can write this and say this is the balance per debtors control. This is the balance per debtors control. If the one for debtors control is the same as this one, we just need to verify that balance per debtors control. Bear with my writing. 10,770 is the balance per debtors control, which is brought down, and that 10,770 is the balance same under our list of debtors, and there we're sitting at 10,770. That is excellent. Thank you very much. If you are to get any question in exam that is debtors control or creditors control or subsidiary journal, your receipt payment debtors, just go there boldly and confident, analyze the question deeply, grab all the marks. I'm not a 50%, 70% lecturer. I am a 90% plus to my students. So please go with that boldness, that confidence. Practice as much as you can. If you have any question, please do feel free to text me if you have my WhatsApp number, or you can ask it from the channel, comment on this video, then I'll send it to you. With those words on my side, thank you very much. Another video you'll see popping up at the end, so that you can also watch that video under our creators control. I'll be sharing those icons at the end of this video. Thank you very much on my side. God be with you.